let's start off actually with the Rampage number. That's the biggest story today, blowing away expectations with, I think we could sense over the weekend, Dave Meltzer was reporting how some of the markets were performing, that I think people were heightening the ceiling of what the debut was going to do. But these were still, to me, stunning numbers to see come out today. 1,129,000 viewers for the program, 692,000 in the 18 to 49 demo. These figures that we'll be citing here coming from Brandon Thurston at WrestleNomics, Showbuzz Daily, also reporting some of these figures. Brandon noting that the Punk segment did 1,341,000 viewers, 842,000 viewers. To put this into perspective, and this is phenomenal, Rampage beat SmackDown in men 18 to 49, adults 18 to 34, men and women 18 to 34, and men 35 to 49. That's comparing cable to network and the millions more homes that Fox is in. That is a stunning feat for Rampage to accomplish.
And 8 o'clock prime time to 10 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we could go on here. Meltzer noting that in Chicago, the Punk segment did a 1.7 in 18 to 49. This was this was a grand slam, whatever you want to characterize it as. This was just through the roof. And they are totally going to ride some of this momentum, maybe even more of it, going into Dynamite on Wednesday, where in theory, they could replicate a number like this, I think, with all of this buzz coming off of it. But, I think, Wade, that this certainly above what we expected, certainly what I expected.
Yeah, I thought 900 would have been a real healthy number, probably on the higher side of predictions, but this completely blew away even those pretty lofty goals. And it just carries on the trend of, I think, AEW continuing to over-delivering. And when I say AEW, I don't necessarily just mean AEW. I mean it's extremely dedicated audience that no matter where you put these shows, no matter how little you actually state about the card that's coming up, they have tremendous trust and they're aware of whatever this company is trying to promote when it's coming out. And they showed up in droves. I mean, even at this wedding I went to over the weekend, I mean, that was much of the talk of the many lapsed wrestling fans that attended, people that I used to talk about wrestling with in high school, coming back out. And
they came up to the booker to ask him.
Yes, they did. Yeah. Talking about CM Punk. So it was certainly the talk of the wrestling world. And I think, this Monday continues to be the talk of the wrestling world. And, going into Friday, I think some of us were wondering, if they're certainly gambling a little bit here, not in the putting Punk on Rampage, but maybe by not mentioning him more, by not hitting the point home a bit harder to drive some of those casual viewers in, and seemingly I think it completely paid off what they exactly did, and it was really interesting maybe hearing some Punk's comments afterwards too, talking about how they were willing to sacrifice maybe a bit of rating for that big reaction live. And it completely paid off. You can't look at these results and think that any of it was the wrong decision. They filled the United Center on top of getting some of their best ratings of the year for a brand new time slot.
Yeah, I really can't criticize the promotion of how they went about this, because to the audience that was aware, they knew. And I think there was a little bit of intrigue of that they haven't flat out said it, but at the same time, I mean, they never denied it. Tony Khan, I mean, as much as he could, winked right at the audience multiple times. And on Friday, I mean, said as much as he was going to, that I'm not going to disappoint the audience of what they're expecting. And I think that this is going to only pay dividends in the future, that AEW will have more than the benefit of the doubt, that here was the greatest surprise they could deliver and did so and led you along the way, that still gave you that somewhat of there was still I think the shock that many people you heard say, until he walks out, I'm not going to believe it. So you still had, if you were even the biggest pessimist, of watching it with slight intrigue of, is he actually going to be here? It's
very much like, the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. I mean, I feel like a good chunk of the audience knows exactly what surprises are in store for this movie and who the special surprise stars and cameos will be. But nonetheless, seeing confirmation of some of those things in the new trailer uh, just has everybody going crazy. Now, AEW had the extra benefit of being able to sell tickets to people watching this reveal for the first time. So I think they more than capitalized on it, in terms of maximizing its value while still maintaining the surprise for the hardcore audience pretty damn well. So, hey, like, great lesson learned here. Like, man, they go against, I think, so many lessons typically, presented in wrestling promotion, and continues to break new ground.
It's also, I mean, this is the grandest example of it, but you can even slice it down into just so many examples of the value of that hometown star. Like, CM Punk was already a very revered figure in Chicago, and you had such unique circumstances of the long hiatus from wrestling that culminated in Friday. But are you telling me that any return business to Chicago is not going to be greatly benefited by how they've handled Britt Baker in Pittsburgh and Punk in Chicago and Guevara in Houston? And it's just, you create these stars that are specific to markets. And it just, to me, like, if you were a fan and opted not to go to the United Center and you watch that, it's just so many of these shows, they're commercials for the next one that, my God, I want to be part of this crowd. You want to be part of that. And with Chicago, it just feels like that will be AEW. And it has been. It's been their home market from their inception. And now it feels that the Now Arena just feels like such a smaller venue that they can run so much bigger. Like United Center at minimum when they come back, whenever that is down the road.
I feel like a future target is even beyond these, and looking towards a stadium. I mean, if you're going to do a stadium show, I feel like Chicago would be one of those markets that has proven that that it would have an appetite big enough, or at least, be a destination that is large enough for people to travel to fill something larger than that. So to me, that's the next frontier for this company.
Just a few other ratings notes in Canada. So the show aired live on TSN Direct from 10 till 11. The TSN2 airing at 11 p.m., so this was on a 1-hour delay, did 107,900 viewers, 75,000 in the 18 to 49 demo, which is SmackDown in Canada, which was live, did more viewers. They did almost 158,000, but they were almost neck and neck in the demo. SmackDown did 76.6 in the demo. So that's on the delay. And I don't have access to the streaming numbers, but you have to imagine, Wai, that they were significant of the audience that was not going to wait until 11 o'clock to watch that. So that was very noteworthy that they did so well on a 1-hour delay. And they're going to replay the first dance on Wednesday as a lead-in for Dynamite.
Sorry to cut you off, but not only is it on a delay, but it is the first time that it is actually airing in that time slot in Canada.
Right. Yep.
So last week we didn't get Rampage on TV, so this is a completely foreign time for people to figure out on their own through very little promotion. I mean, no promotion, honestly, on their TV, and still doing that number. It's, again, pretty surprising.
And the final thing is that this CM Punk shirt has just, like Pro Wrestling Tees, it has shattered their records. Apparently, they have scooped up every available Ringer tee in North America to fulfill these orders. I just cannot, Pro Wrestling Tees is a giant to begin with. I cannot imagine what the success of this is taking that company into just another level, it feels like, as well, just off of this weekend. Like, their site, every time I checked, was down over this weekend. I cannot imagine the orders that they're trying to fulfill at this point. But it is, and a shout out to a friend of the show, Stank from the PWT cast, who designed the shirt.
Yes, as CM, what is it, Scrump. I was about to call him CM Scrump because that's his Twitter handle. But as Scrump alluded to, I mean, I don't think Stank gets enough love for the amount of graphics work he's done. I believe he's been responsible for a lot of the things that we have seen on people's bodies. And, he tweeted it out very briefly, but they had the CM Punk logo that he designed plastered all over the United Center as people were leaving that building. And I can't imagine the thrill of seeing something that, from your mind on your computer screen being shown on such a big stage, and now on so many people's chests. It's just, yeah, I'm incredibly happy for them. I urge everybody to go check out the PWT cast this week for some behind the scenes info.
And SmackDown on Friday, from 8 till 10, did 2,102,738,000 in the 18 to 49 demo, in line with what they've been doing the last 4 weeks, and pretty much, not too many changes from the week prior. This featuring the Cena Reigns promo. It did not get any kind of a surge. Like, there wasn't this big amount of wrestling fans that were tuning in on Friday because of Punk that maybe were going to sample SmackDown, but nonetheless still, a healthy, normal SmackDown number on the eve of SummerSlam.